Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at something kind of surprising, given in a cost of living crisis. It's booming online, and frankly, I'm kind of fascinated why.
Absolutely. And it really makes you rethink what philanthropy is in the digital age, right? It's
Yeah.
not your grandma's charity anymore, that's for sure.
Right, and get this, there's this article from FinTech Finance. They talk about a UK platform, Pennies, all about micro donations, like tiny sums when you're buying stuff online. Their survey found if every single person in the UK who uses a card gave just 35p each week, £1 billion more for charities yearly.
See, that's what I mean about rethinking things. It's not about the huge gifts necessarily. This is tapping into something different. Small change, but huge impact.
Totally. But here's the kicker. They also found almost half the people surveyed said they're more likely to give small amounts now, even with costs rising. What's that about?
Well, it's like our other source today was saying a piece on how digital giving is changing. It's emotional. Giving a few pennies, it feels doable, not this big thing you got a budget for.
So it's less intimidating than, like, pulling out your credit card for a big donation.
Exactly. You're kind of sneaking in the good deed. And it ties into that whole thing. FinTech Finance mentioned 90% of people like the idea of retailers offering this micro donation thing. It's more than just convenience.
Oh, for sure. Like you're saying, I support this without having to do a whole thing about it.
It's that whole social media effect, right? Showing what you care about, being part of something. Our second source talked about that sense of community, and this taps right into it.
It's like digital philanthropy is changing what it even means to be a philanthropist.
Oath.
It's for everyone now.
And you know what? It should be. Technology's making it possible, breaking down the old barriers of who gives and how much.
Love that. But, okay, what about the causes themselves? FinTech Finance mentioned people still like giving to things that mean something to them personally. Has that changed?
This is where it gets really interesting. Historically, giving was local, right? You knew where your money was going. Our second source talked about that. But now,
It's global. I mean, someone across the world can be in trouble, and
yeah,
we can donate instantly.
exactly. And platforms are making it easier to find those connections to causes that resonate, even if they're thousands of miles away. It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It's like a whole new era for giving. But with all these online platforms, how do we know? How do we know it's legit, that the money's going where it should?
Now that is the million-dollar question. And luckily for you, it's something we're going to unpack in the next part of our deep dive.
You know, you really got me thinking there at the end. With all these choices, how do you make sure your donation actually makes a difference?
Yeah, it's not just about giving more, it's about giving smart, right? And that's where this gets kind of cool. That second piece we have on how digital philanthropy is evolving. They were talking about some wild stuff. AI, for one.
AI seems a little out there for charity, doesn't it? Like robots deciding where my money goes.
Not robots exactly, more like imagine a super personalized matchmaker, but for giving. That's what AI could do, connect us to causes in ways we wouldn't even think of.
Okay, now that you put it that way, I'm listening. How would that even work?
So think about it. AI looks at what you're already into, right? Causes you follow online, stuff you read, even what you're buying, and it uses that to find charities that fit you.
So instead of just those generic donate now pop-ups, it's like tailored recommendations. Like,
Right.
hey, based on your love of vintage hats, this charity needs you.
Exactly. It makes the whole thing feel more intentional, for donors and the charities.
Now that's using technology for good. I can get behind that. What about that gamification thing? That was in the article too. Seemed kind of strange for something as serious as charity.
It sounds weird, right? But think about what makes games fun. You're progressing, achieving goals, maybe even a little competition. Now put that towards a good cause.
Instead of clicking donate, it's like I'm leveling up my generosity. I know it's a bit out there.
It's different, that's for sure. But it might get people more involved. Make it fun, especially for younger generations. Maybe not for every cause, but still, there's potential.
I see where you're coming from. But with any new tech, there's going to be downsides, right?
Yeah.
What should we be careful about?
Oh, absolutely. Can't just blindly trust everything. Transparency is going to be huge, making sure we know how these AI things are making decisions.
Yeah,
Don't want any accidental bias creeping in.
right. Makes sense. Transparency builds trust, especially when it's about something as important as charity.
Yeah.
What else do we need to watch out for as this all evolves? I mean, yeah, how do we make sure all this cool new tech actually leads to good? It's a big
And
question.
huge. And that's not going to be easy answers, right? We got to be talking about this stuff, figuring it out as we go. But one thing's for sure, transparency is key. If AI is going to match me with my dream charity, I want to know how it's making those calls, you
Oh, I
know.
totally know black boxes when it comes to charity, right? What else should we be keeping an eye on? What's going to make sure this goes right?
Honestly, people knowing what's up. Both donors and charities got to get educated. Donors need to know how this tech works, what it's good at, what its limits are.
So, like, digital literacy, but forgiving. Makes sense.
Hmm.
And charities, what about them?
They've got to get on board, too. Not just using the tech because it's trendy, but using it right, telling their story in this new world.
Finding that balance, yeah, between doing the cool new thing and doing it responsibly. Sounds tricky.
It is. But we can't forget what this is all about at the end of the day, right? It's about people helping people. That desire to make things better, that's what matters. The tech is just how we do it now.
That's a good way to put it. The human element's still got to be there, no matter how high-tech it gets.
Yeah, 100%. And it goes back to that thing we talked about before. Even small actions added up make a huge difference.
Yeah, that 35 pence thing, that really stuck with me. Like,
Yeah.
anyone can be part of something big.
And platforms like Pennies, they're making that possible, making
Yeah.
it easy to give. That's powerful stuff.
No doubt. So, we've covered a lot of ground here, from tiny donations to, like, the future of giving. What's the one thing you hope people listening take away from all this?
The future's here, and it's exciting. We've got to be smart. We've got to be open about what we're doing, but we can make this work. Everyone can have a role in making the world a better place.
Love that message. Everyone can make a difference. That's something to feel good about. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. Until next time, keep those curiosity engines running.